Hello, welcome back to Leicester Fan TV. This is the Fox's Focus Show. We're talking about all things Leicester. Welcome back. You all right, Simon? How are you?
I am okay, mate. How are you, Jono?
I'm good. Like I said, you're about to say good, and you said brought it back to okay.
We've not signed anyone yet. We're halfway through the window, and so far nothing.
Got rid of someone.
We did, but we've not signed anyone yet. So, I think we all know the glaring need in our squad, and I'll be relieved when we start to ease that scenario.
Well, we'll talk about transfers in a bit, because today, for the first time since we've started this show, we've got our special guest. It's a Coventry fan, Boo, but oh well, he's a good one. We've got Jay from Sky Blue Jay. Welcome, Jay.
Hey guys.
Evening, Jay.
This is his tag. If you want to follow him on Instagram, YouTube, follow him on YouTube. That's his name if you want to go and follow him. So Jay, how you been?
I'm good.
You're good. Tell you, a hell of a season you've been having, haven't you? Like we thought, we'll go straight back up like we did 2 years ago, but we haven't. We've been rubbish, and you're normally a mid-table championship team. You have been for the past 2 decades, but you've been on fire this year.
Honestly, it's been. I think it's surpassed any Coventry City fans' ambitions. I think most of us sort of thought, realistically, maybe around that sort of 5th, 6th area, maybe if we're pushing it, get up to the sort of 3rd, 4th. But the start we had was absolutely phenomenal. We started off against Hull, a very timid sort of 0-0 game. It was nothing really happened, and then all of a sudden we absolutely flying, scoring goals left, right, and centre. Again, we saw sort of embers of it when Lampard came in, sort of after January time. We signed Matt Grimes, massive catalyst of how we play now. And yeah, it's just really sort of really developed and stuff. But again, towards the end of last season, we were sort of slowed down a little bit how we were playing and getting the results and stuff. So yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. Again, the most Cov fans, sort of the Coventry mentality, we're sort of expecting it all crumbling down. But I'm staying strong. I think we're going to sort of hang in there. But Leicester, not Leicester, so Ipswich, are right up our backsides, chase us down, and Borough, they're all season as well with us.
Yeah, well, I wish Jay that it was us up your backside, frankly, because we're adrift and we are a real Jekyll and Hyde team. So I'm guessing as this show goes on tonight, we're going to talk about the game at the weekend. But if you're going to ask us how we're going to do it, really depends which Leicester City turn up. Because one week we look great. I mean, that away game at Derby was as good as anything we put on a pitch in a couple of years. And the next week, Sheffield United, we look absolutely woeful. So we're such a hit and miss side at the minute. It's very difficult. But in terms of Lampard, I'm curious because obviously you kind of look from afar. What's your take on how he's got you playing so well and got you at the top of the league?
It's just down to good coaching. At the end of the day, he came in November last year. November 24. Sorry. It was a bit of a slowish start. We drew a few games, won a few games, lost a few games. We had last season as well, very, very small squad. So we had a few injuries. So he changed the system. It was away at Norwich. We lost that game. We were 1-0 up in the 90th minute and then somehow lost 2-1 with 2 sort of cracking goals from the Norwich winger. And then, but we saw the embers of something there. It was like a really solid team that weren't going to sort of give up and they were fighting for everything. And we saw that. And then Matt Grimes came in. As I mentioned earlier, he was the catalyst of how we start playing. He's sort of almost like a bit of I hate this sort of term, but a bit of a quarterback for us where he'll just dictate games and the flow how we play and all this sort of stuff. And then we got a few players back. He went to a back 5 in that period of time, January last year. And it was just a case of just being solid, don't concede and get the odd win. We went on a crazy run. I think it was we won 10 out of 11 games, which is really, really good. It was a record at the time. And then he's got a really good coaching staff as well. We've got Joe Edwards, who was Millwall manager, but prior to that, he was with Chelsea. Won the basically Lampard made him assistant when he was there at Chelsea. And we've got Chris Edwards as well. He's more of a fitness guy and coach, but again, both England recognised coaches as well. So it just seems like Lampard just raised every aspect of our club. Robins obviously is a legend of the club, but it just looked like he just raised every single aspect. And when he loses, obviously we haven't lost too many times this season, but when he loses, he looks vexed. And it's not, he does, when we lost to Wrexham, he credited Wrexham that they played well. When we lost to Ipswich twice, maybe not the first time, the second time, that was probably the only time this season we got played off the park. He credited them, but you can tell he's not a good loser, put it that way. So I think he's just instilling that sort of winning mentality into the team as well. Don't get me wrong, we've rode our luck a little bit at times. We haven't been playing brilliant football throughout the whole season. We are a little bit leaky at the back, and I'll explain a little bit later how that is, but keep that between the three of us, please, and don't tell anyone else. But he's just got us playing this really good style of football, and it's not just sort of one way of playing football. It's not sort of wing play. It's sort of different ways of playing and sort of creating chances and stuff. So it's looked very fluid apart from December onwards. But I think that's, again, down to the small squad and people looking very lucky.
Well, that's pretty opposite to us, because you're alluding to, Jay, that over the past few years, you've had a few managers where you've kind of grown as a team. I know you've replaced the managers and you've got new coaching staff, but over those years, you've been cementing foundations in the team, getting a winning mentality and building up. But that's completely opposite to Leicester. We've kind of stagnated, and we've kind of we've had 3 managers recently, ever since Enzo left us, and we've always resorted to the same style of football: slow pace, passing around the back, trying to play back from the goalkeeper, which everyone Leicester hates. We've been famous for fast-paced, counter-attacking football, but I don't know, Simon. We've just completely opposite. We've not built anything. In fact, Wout Faes was alluding to, and he's our latest player to have left on loan, that he loves playing at Leicester, and it's just been stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cifuentes, our manager, has opened up a little bit over the last week, 10 days, about some of what's been going on behind the scenes. He's been quite cagey with most of it, but he opened up today and kind of admitted that Faes had asked for a move in the summer for whatever reason, whether they took a decision not to move him on or the right move wasn't on the table. He ended up staying. He's not the only one. We know that as well. That's in that squad that asked to go in the summer as well. So you would think that you've got some players in there that are maybe not talking in the most positive ways to the other players in the squad. I think it's a good thing for Faes, and it's a good thing for us that he's moved on. I think he played something like 125 games for us in his time with us. So it's more than maybe I realised until I checked it earlier on today, how many games he played for us. There's some great performances in there, let's be honest. There are some games where he kept us in games.
Yeah.
But this season, the games he has got involved in, he's been full of mistakes. He threw a load of swear words at the fans when he scored that goal when he came off the bench, which wasn't the best look. I think he made a mistake and thought he got booed on as a sub, but I was at that game, obviously, and it was the Woot thing, not a boo, which is obviously his first name. So I think he misread that, and then he let himself down then by winding a load of swear words into the cop after he scored. He needed to go. He's not the only one that needs to go. But the other side of that is, without repeating myself and sounding like a broken record, there are at front, for Jay's benefit, if you're talking about Leicester's weak spots, we've kept 1 clean sheet in 21 games, right? And in addition to that, we've got no one to score a goal. When you're distilling football down to its ultimate, base level, it's don't concede and score at the other end. Well, we're conceding goals, and we've got no one at the minute who's come. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jordan James is coming up with goals. For Taru's come up with some incredible goals from wide. Mavididi scored a fantastic goal against the League Two side at the weekend. There are other players chipping in, but we haven't got that consistent scorer. And until we sort that out, we are going to be this win one week, lose the next week team, and we're going to end up mid-table, or worse if the points deduction comes.
Well, going to this transfer window, I mean, Daka scored 2 goals this calendar year, and he's on something like £70,000 a week, which is hilarious. That's the best joke in the English pyramid. We were going to sign that guy who's gone to Charlton from Birmingham.
Lyndon Dykes, that's gone, mate.
That's
and I'm not sorry about that.
So one of our biggest weaknesses is up front. You know, as you said, we get goals from Fataru, we can get goals from Jordan James, Babadidi can score a few. But we haven't got the prolific striker, so I think we need to get a few more strength in the centre backs. I think we're running thin, and a striker. So Jay, what would you say? You know, you were saying before we went on that in order for you to win this Championship season or get promoted, you want the manager to get backs, don't you? You want Lampard to get the full backing from the owner and go for it.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say a bit tongue in cheek. There's a young lad called Jamie Vardy in Italy. You can keep an eye on. Maybe.
Oh yeah, isn't he like a player of the month or something?
Oh,
I do not know.
That's sore, Jay. That's a sore one, mate. That is.
This is Jamie Vardy. He's one of those sort of players that everyone hates. Like Luca 9, everyone would hate to have him. Like, everyone hates him, but loves to have him on your team. I think everyone just loves Jamie Vardy. There was a fan link over the summer that he was coming to Coventry. Normally, Leicester, we don't want any Leicester players, but everyone was getting so excited for Jamie Vardy. Obviously, nothing materialised, but he would have ripped up this year for you guys. But anyway, let's move on from that. I don't want to upset you guys too much. But for us, so the issue with Coventry this season. So I think our owner, absolutely brilliant guy. You could tell he wants to get the club to the Premier League, but he's doing it the right way. He's not sort of spending silly money. He's always said if a deal's there to be done, he'll buy the players. Over the summer, I think he missed out on quite a few. We tried to sign Raksaki from Crystal Palace, the winger. We tried to sign obviously Charlie Hughes as well, lowballed Hull for that, I think, admittedly. But he's always trying to improve the squad. But I think he did leave us a little bit short. I wish he did sing that low. I wish he did.
We're lower than Coventry, so we can't talk.
Yeah. So we signed some good options. We signed Carl Rushworth, who's been a massive improvement in goal for us. It's the best goalkeeper we've had in years. Such a commanding goalkeeper, so reassuring. His distribution surprisingly not as good as I remember it being at Swansea a couple of years back. But we signed Kane Kessler-Hayden, who was Preston. He won every award at Preston. He's the player of the season, young player of the season. He won everything. He can barely get looking for us. We signed Luke Wolfenden, who was one of the main centre backs when Ipswich went up. Obviously, had a couple of games in the Premier League. Hasn't done too well, but he's raised that sort of level for us. But then in centre midfield, we got rid of Ben Sheaf, who was our captain, good player, a little bit injury prone. And then we basically played for the last 2 years. We played with wingers. We've only got 2 wings in a whole squad, so that was always a bit of a problem. And our strikers are very hot and cold. They're sort of very patchy strikers. So what we've done straight away, January, we signed two wingers, both on loan. We signed Romain Esse, who used to be at Millwall, now at Palace. Came on had his debut against Stoke, did really, really well. And we signed young Min Huang, I think his name is, or Mini as he's called, who's at loan at Pompey and last season at QPR. So they're not sort of the most extravagant signings, I would say, but they're good depth, exactly what we need. Because as I mentioned to you guys earlier, one of the guys who did the pod with me, he mentioned back in the Ipswich game, which was right at the beginning of December, that he thought that we looked leggy, and we look leggy. Like everything runs through Matt Grimes, and even Matt Grimes looks tired at the moment. So for me, we've got 24 players in our squad now, so there's one more spot. I think that spot, again, we've been linked to a couple of centre midfield players. I think that goes to a centre midfield player there, and then anything else that happens is going to be a one-in, one-out situation. I think we need to upgrade our left-back area. Our fans aren't happy with our strikers that we've got, and we do tend to concede. We don't leak a lot. We've had 9 clean sheets, which is the most in the season so far this year, which is amazing because we give a hell of a lot of chances away. And I think Carl Rushworth's got the highest XG against or preventions in that period of time as well. So he saved us a hell of a lot of times. But what we need to do is add a bit of depth in our squad and maybe sort of up quality in certain areas as well.
Yeah, like I wish we needed more rotation and stuff. But going into, well, I want to relate this back to the FA Cup, because in the FA Cup, Simon said, we need to get one signed anyone. We played a lot of youngsters, didn't we, Simon? We played Jake Evans. Jake Evans on the bench, wasn't he? He didn't come on.
That was the bone of contention. Yeah.
Silko Thomas. There was
Louis
There's one player-
Page played.
Louis Page, yeah.
Jono.
Who's our right? Was that right? Our right back.
Aluko got involved as well. Yeah, full
Yeah.
back.
So we've got really good youngsters coming up, haven't we? Why don't we utilize them? Why
I
don't we
think,
bring Nick Evans for striker?
There's a lot of negativity amongst Leicester fans, and let's be honest, some of that is acclimatising back, down to a level that we've not been at for a long time. And I guess you're talking about fans that are kind of in their 20s that don't remember the kind of darker days that I do. So it is a change of adjustment. But ultimately, if you're looking for that kind of shred of positivity in our club right now, it is that youth. Now, Jeremy Monga, Louis Page, Jake Evans, Aluko, etc. I mean, obviously, Will Alves out on loan as well, who I would suggest is also a prospect, even though we keep loaning him out. Sammy Braybrook, who's been out on loan this season at 2 clubs, is another one for the future. I wouldn't suggest that any of them right now, in my opinion, are ready to step up and start contributing at a senior level on a regular basis. Their subs, their cameos, their cover for injuries, and all of those things. And of course, bless him, Evans, that was a bit controversial on Saturday, because when he hauled off Daka for the last 20 minutes and we're winning 2-0, as a fan, you're sat there thinking, well, he's going to put Evans on and give him a chance. And of course, he didn't. He put Ayew on, a man in his mid-30s who's played 500 games and doesn't need the time. If anything, he needs his feet up, ready for the weekend. So, that nonsense, you're talking about game management nonsense. There's some right there, but that aside, you would think that in 2 seasons' time, if we can keep hold of them, because that's the other thing, let's be honest, Jono, are the Man Cities, the Chelseas, the Arsenal's going to come in and pinch all these players over that time? If we can keep them, we've got the nucleus of a very positive team without actually spending anything other than wages. And that is the one shred of positivity, really. And let's not forget Ben Nelson amongst all of that as well, who's already in the tide and is still only 21 and is playing fantastically for us at the minute.
Well, that's the problem, is you're all about teams coming and get them, but why do they want to stay in the first place? You've got so much negativity in the changing room. Why do they want to stay?
Outside looking in, I think you've got some fantastic young players. Obviously, Monga, Page, probably the 2 standout players. But any youth player, you want to bring him on last 5-10 minutes any game, maybe when you're a couple of goals ahead, and sort of bleed him into a positive sort of environment. But obviously, Stefan Mavdidi 2 years ago absolutely ripped up the championship. This year, I've seen him a couple of times. He just doesn't look good at all. So I think you're sort of forced to play Monga at 17. That's a lot of pressure. Sorry, 16. Sorry, I think he is, isn't he?
Yeah, 16.
That's a lot of pressure for a young lad. He's like, with all due respect, there's very few 16-year-olds that are ready for men's football, just physically, let alone mentally as well. And obviously, Page I've seen a couple of times as well, has his good patches in and out matches. But again, those sort of players that you want to bring on when you're 1-0 up, 2-0, well, sorry, not even that, 2-3-0 up. We've got a young lad called Kai Andrew. He's been called up to the Welsh squad, 18 years old, barely gets any minutes, even though we're doing very well. He'll come on for like a little 5-minute spell here, and so on, just to get sort of used to the whole thing. We've got a young lad called Shepherd on the bench as well, 16 years old, hasn't touched the ball. He's there for the match day environment and getting used to it and all this sort of stuff. Lampard really rates him, but it's a case of sort of managing it, where it's, again, outside looking in, obviously I don't know the ins and outs better than you guys do, but it's almost like you're being forced to play these players because of inadequacies of other players not performing. And I think that's a lot of pressure on young lads, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, Jay. We are playing these players because the senior players are not stepping up and doing the job they're being paid to do. And there is no choice then but to bring these players in to give us something different. And a lot of the fans have been clamouring for that, especially up front. I mean, Jake Evans, who we've been talking about in this evening, he hasn't kicked a ball yet, but he's the young striking talent at the club. And it's clear that Cifuentes can only see him as not being at all ready, because he's not even had a sniff. But we are being pushed into it by the lackluster performances from the senior players. You're absolutely right.
Well, look at the manager against who was the last game? West Brom. Didn't he play Silko Thomas up front? instead of Daka?
Yes, he came on for the last 15 minutes up front, and I thought he did all right. Now he's a stroke number 10, and he ended up having to lead the line for the last 15 minutes, which, to his credit, I thought he did okay. But he's never going to get you 15 goals up front.
But that says it all. Like, we're so devoid of strikers and attacking ability. We're resorting to wingers, young wingers playing up front. And, you said about the Vardy thing. I can see why Vardy left now. It wasn't because he's not fit enough, because he's whipping it up in Serie A. It's just because our club was such a shambles, he didn't want to stay anymore.
Yeah, he wanted to go somewhere else before it was too late, and he had to call it a day. And why not go to Italy another season or two and enjoy the sunshine on the beach?
Again, also looking in, I think your squad, the starting 11, for example, on paper, really, really good.
Paper.
On
different
paper,
to real life.
This is going to bring on to my question. You got Pereira, Chowdhury, obviously your centre backs, Oliver Skip, million. What is it? Harry Wing? You got on paper such a good squad. What is it that you just can't get a tune out of these guys at all? Like, I've seen Leicester play a few times. I remember seeing the first game I saw them at the season was Charlton when Fatu mispronounced the name all the time. He scored that cracking goal. But I thought Charlton played you off the park that day. They should have been 3-0 up by the time you guys scored. But what is it? Because technically, all brilliant players, and you got the brilliant sort of people be jealous of the youth players you got coming through. What is that? You can't get? Is it the manager? Is it players? What is it? Combination? What is it? Would you say?
Do you want me to answer that, Jono?
I'm gonna say we're just rubbish on every measurable possible. Like the way the clubs ran, everything. There's not one thing. The only good thing about Leicester is our youth team, is our youth prospects. End.
Your best youth prospect is the Coventry lad, I believe, as well, old Jeremy Wanga. Bring him home.
I mean, ultimately, without this kind of brushing it, just saying that we're a crap. I think there's a nucleus of players there, Jay, that have been relegated twice. For starters, and I think that takes something out of a player. Where I would also suggest that there's a chunk of players there that were signed in the Premier League, and I think what they were sold is not what they've ended up living at Leicester. They thought they were going to be Premier League players at Leicester, and they've been Championship players for 2 out of the last 3 seasons, and maybe that wasn't their aspiration when they came to Leicester. I think, as Jono alluded to earlier in this conversation, I don't know who is driving the football philosophy at the club. You could speculate it's John Rudkin, the director of football, but we don't know for sure. He's very much pushing the club down this Guardiola-esque type of football, which is playing it around the back for 50 minutes and then trying to bore the other team to death and then catch them on the sucker punch. And whilst that's fine, if that's what you want to do, great. You want to hire a manager that's in that mould, great also. But you've got to back that manager then with the players and the personnel to play that system. And I think there has been a lot of square pegs in round holes. I think
that's not his system. We know this is not his system because he's proved it a few times. Yeah, he's proved it a few times. He wants to play really fast-paced counter-attacking football, which we've seen pre-season and against Derby. But I think it's the board. We've seen with Chelsea how the board dictates. You don't want a yes man. They want their tactics, but just a front man to give, just to say, oh, this is tactics. But I think the board are dictating how we play.
Yeah, I would say that's got to be possible. But the perverseness of that, the final cherry on the cake, is right in the middle of all of that. And that so-called philosophy, we hired Steve Cooper to manage the club, who you couldn't get more different from everything that I've just explained.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making here, Jay, is it doesn't feel like there's any coherent strategy there. And as a result, things have become very disjointed.
Let me just give you the cherry, the icing on the cherry. Top came out and said he wants to improve the relationship with the fans to the club. The first thing they do is don't wish happy birthday to Jamie Vardy, because Rudkin got pissy the fact that Jamie Vardy liked our was it Susan Wheeler, who was one of our board members that left.
Well, he's the,
So
she was the CEO, yeah.
So they didn't give
Egos.
everybody happy birthday because they're that pissy. The fact that he said that about Susan Whelan. That's how, and that's pissed off the whole fan base.
So again, that's what I'm looking at. It looks like basically egos from the top to the bottom. But
Yeah.
again, maybe the players think they're too good for the club. Your owner, obviously, it sounds like your owner's trying his best, but again, we sort of discussed off camera, maybe a bit too much, big of a job for him. But I don't know what the position is. He may be sort of trying to be the big boy as well. But again, yeah, unfortunately, football clubs are very, again, we'll never know, but they're very complex things to sort of steer, and you need everyone steering in the same direction, I guess, don't you? You need a leader to sort of drive the standards of the club. Again, you need from top to bottom, effectively. And yeah, maybe just a bit rudderless at the moment, which is
there you go.
Big.
We are Rudkin rudderless. There's a new phrase for the club. I think that pretty much sums it up, Jay. What about you in terms of do you remember the game we played against you in the first half of the season where it was a 0-0 draw? What was your take on that, and what impact do you think that game will have on the weekend?
I don't think I think in hindsight, Lampard was he'll probably be a bit peed off that he didn't go for it a little bit more, because at the time I don't think you were on the ropes that much, but obviously it sort of materialized that you could get, no offense, you can be got at that stage, and that was sort of the beginning of our I think we had like quite a few draws around that period of time, but it looked like to me it seemed like a very cagey game that both teams didn't want to lose rather than anyone wanted to go and win. Again, maybe a bit of a similar situation this weekend as well, because obviously Coventry aren't in great form as well. Obviously, you guys are a bit hit and miss at the moment, but Coventry aren't in great form. I think we won 2 in the last 9 games. Again, we'll go into more detail about how that all sort of played out a little bit later on. But I don't think it will have a massive impact on how it's played. But obviously, Coventry at the CBS are a different animal to being away. So I'm nervously confident, I would say. I'm one minute we're going to win 10-0. Next minute I'm like, it's going to be a 1-0 hit and run kind of loss kind of thing. So these sort of games, I think you all say it. I wouldn't call this a derby myself, just because too much distance. I think derbies have to be sort of same city or thereabouts. It's a rivalry more than anything, and neither club want to lose this, because again, there's plenty of people that sort of work simultaneously with a Coventry fan or a Leicester fan that you want to have the bragging rights for as well. These sort of games just go completely out the window, and I think the points will go to the team that's up for it the most.
Which will be you.
I don't know. Well, hopefully I learn to give a bit more energy. That's my hope.
So I'm gonna give you both the question, and then I want you both to give the answer. How would you like your manager to set up against Leicester or against Coventry? How would you like to win this game? So, as I said, form's out the window with the players we've got at the moment, obviously, because we can't send anyone now in time for the game. How would you like our managers to go out and prepare the game, and compared to, because we've both teams going in poor form, because Coventry hasn't won many. How many games won out of 9? 2 out of 9.
2 out of 9, I think it is. Yeah.
We've won the last 2 games, but we fluked it against West Brom and beat Cheltenham, so that doesn't count. So we're both coming on poor form. So what should we do to going against a positive Coventry team at home? The fans are going to be up for it. What would it take to win?
For us, energy. At the beginning of the season, we were just wiping teams away just because of our energy. We don't necessarily play a high pressing game. We pick and choose when we press, but when we press, you're camped in. And when we played West Brom a little while ago, we were 2-0 down, got it back 2-1 before half time. And the second half, they just could not, obviously had players sent off, which helped, but even prior to that, they just couldn't get the ball out of their half effectively. And we saw it again when we beat QPR 7-1. We saw it against Derby when we beat them 5-3, and so on and so on. We basically had this high energy. We score 1 goal. We don't sit back normally, which we have been doing the last month. We just go again for the next goal. And that's the sort of mentality that we have. But also, that has been a bit of a downfall as well, because the way we're doing that is our fullbacks go our centre backs are high. We're sort of almost at the halfway line, or if you're on the attack, maybe sort of a couple of yards in our half. Our fullbacks play super, super high. They play really, really high. So, again, secret between us three. a lot of clubs just ping a diagonal ball over us now, and that's it. And they sort of in behind. And with the wings that you got, that is for me the biggest worry, because for me your biggest strength is Fatu and Jordan James. Jordan James, I think, is a brilliant player. But I think your wingers, your wingers could have a lot of joy. Like Milan Van Eyck and our right back, fantastic player, but really for the last month hasn't been that good. I think this FA Cup game has come at the perfect time, because effectively it's been a 2-week break for a lot of our players. And I'd say they look very, very tired. So Matt Grimes didn't play at all. He plays every second of every minute. He looked a bit leggy as well. We've got big talk potential coming back as well. We've got obviously our two young lonely wingers coming in. Our two normal wingers came on for the last 15, 20 minutes, I believe it was. Ellis Sims will maybe start, or Hadji Wright. They sort of split the game a little bit as well. So the minutes were managed very, very well. So that's my hope, we bring that energy back and play that high energy game, not a high press game, the high energy game, and sort of suffocate you guys as well. But I say that does come with its worries as well, with the way you have your team, your best players effectively in those wings, especially your right winger.
What about you, Simon?
Well, let me just clarify your question, Johnny. You're asking me what I want or what I think will happen?
I think we'll go realistic. What do you think will happen?
Fine. Then what's going to happen is we're going to play the same team we have done in the last 4 or 5 games. I was going to play up front, go for Fatari and Mavididi out wide. We're going to play Skip and James in the middle. And then we're going to go across the back 4 with probably, I would imagine, Luke Thomas coming back in at the left, maybe a Luco. I don't know. The Thomas one's kind of up in the air at the minute because he's dropped out the team of late. I don't like the plain Hamza Chowdhury and Ricardo Pereira thing. I don't like that. I playing Chowdhury at left back. That's just, for me, he's out in the Amazon over there. That's not his normal place to play, and it's too much of an ask. So I'd rather Luke Thomas came back in, even though he gets a fair bit of slack. If Vestergaard's fit, which from what the manager said today in the press conference, he only took a tap on his ankle on the weekend, so he should be fit. Then it's a toss-up between him and Okoli to play next to Ben Nelson at the back. Because it's away and it's an M69 derby, all of that stuff, I think you probably bring Vestergaard in for his experience in there. And then ultimately, we've got to try and penetrate Coventry through the channels. We've got to get Jordan James up through the middle. We've got to get Fatawu and Mavididi firing down the wings. And we've got to get them getting into positions, because there's no point suggesting that we start throwing the ball into the box, because as we both know, Jono, there's no one in there.
No.
Because Ayu's playing very deep, because he's either no longer got the pace, or he's tactically being told to sit deeper. So we don't have that battering ram or target man if we play Ayu to throw the ball to. So those players have got to get themselves into positions to score, be it Fatawu coming off the wing and putting a shot in, as Jay alluded to at Charlton earlier in the season, and obviously that 70-yard screamer he scored a few weeks ago, and all the rest of it. We need that creativity. And I'm hoping that it's a high tempo, backwards and forwards, passionate Midlands derby that's entertaining to watch.
Fest.
Let's not have a bore fest. Let's have a derby. I mean, if we turn up at Coventry and play like we did away to Derby County, we're going to beat them, because that Leicester City team that beat Derby County is the best team in the league. But it's only turned up once this season. Now, the other one that obviously I didn't mention is D. Cordova Reid, and I think we want him in there, sat just behind Ayu, trying to pull the string. As the 10, yeah. I don't think in a Blood and Thunder derby you want to bring in 17-year-old Louis Page. No. I think you bring your experience in and get that on the park.
Who would you have as your number 8, your DM? Would you have Skip?
Skip, yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, what you may or may not know, Jay, is that Harry Winks is not even training with Leicester City.
Harry Winks is out.
He's been out of the mix now for about 2 months.
I'm sure that'll be. Is he leaving the club, or is he just?
Well, he's earning 90 grand a week, and he's not even turning up for training because he's been told to keep away. Harry Winks' problem has always been
his
ego. That and the fact that he won't move up to the Midlands from London, and then it's the second manager in a row with obviously Van Nistelrooy being the first, who's removed him from the squad because he's not preparing for games properly because he's not present.
No.
Again, that's obviously part of the problem is those high wages you've given out and dished out to people, and obviously you didn't get the reductions. I saw that Wolves, if their players get relegated, they lose 50% of their salary, and that's the way it should be, because either you stay at the club if you want to be at the club, or you'll do want to not sort of sit on your hands and just collect your salary. Coventry in the past have had those sort of players. I mean, we signed Tim Sherwood many years ago and did absolutely nothing for us, but he was on a massive wage for Coventry at that particular time as well. And that's fundamentally stems what is a problem. Harry Winks should be he should be the best player in the league, hands down. I remember seeing him for Spurs and England. He's such a tidy, neat player. Like the lad played for England, for crying out loud, not so long ago. And now he's not doing anything. But he should be walking this league. At his age, his intelligence he doesn't need to run around. His intelligence should get him through games. But again, you need somebody there to kick you up the arse at half the time as well.
I mean, he was signed in that championship season under Enzo Maresca, and he was an absolute dream that season. He was our best.
Phenomenal.
He was our best player. He was incredible. But he
married him in his mind.
There we go, and that's it in a nutshell. He loved Maresca. He loved the way that he gave him authority and autonomy on the pitch to manage it. And he loved the position that Maresca's system gave him. And then the day Maresca walked out and Steve Cooper came in, he threw his toys out the pram and he's been sulking ever since.
That's such a when you say that back to back, Maresca to Cooper, such a contrast of styles. It's absolutely crazy to have a philosophy and you've gone from one extreme to another.
The only thing I'll give the club a little bit of credit for, not credit, but understanding, is the club was planning to build up a Premier League team under Enzo. They're building a squad and a team for Enzo in the Premier League. But Enzo walked out for Chelsea. Now that the club panicked, they think, crap, we're into pre-season without a manager. What do we do? I know.
Well,
let's walk up to the first manager who offers himself to us.
We spent the best part of a month courting Graham Potter. You know, which would have been a very similar philosophy in terms of football philosophy to Enzo Maresca. You know, we spent a month doing that. And if the rumours are to be believed, he wanted certain people removed from the club in senior positions and he wanted to bring his own people in. And as a result of that, those senior position people who were employing him backed away from it because they were going to lose their own job in the process. And then because we were then deep into pre-season, they had to go back to Cooper, who they'd already talked about, and kind of kicked into the long grass. But it was, as Jay says, a complete change in football philosophy, and people like Winks massively struggled with it, and they never got over it.
No, it's just a big mess, isn't it?
It is, but you know, like we said, there's shoots there, and if it's the team that played Derby turn up on Saturday against Coventry City are in for a shock. If the team that played Sheffield United over Christmas turns up,
we're going to get stomped.
We're going to get beat 4 or 5-0. And neither you or me, Jono, can tell Jay which Leicester City is going to turn up this weekend.
My worry is that it's a rivalry match. Like people are going to be up for it. I'd imagine, I would presume that would be the case, that people will be up for it. You never know. Obviously, a bit of a funny situation, and obviously away form's not good, to be polite. But I just think the rivalry is just going to sort of balance out a little bit more.
Our fans will be good loud though. Our fans will be very loud. I can say that our fans won't just be sitting down with their arms crossed like the King Power. They will be loud. So don't think we'll just be silent. We will be giving it. We'll be saying Champions of England because you haven't sang that.
There's one back for the Jamie Vardy comment.
There's one back.
We'll take it.
So right, it's score predictions time. Come on, Jono, let's get the score predictions out. It's 8:10, mate.
3-2 to Leicester. Last minute winner by Fataru.
Me, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Coventry win. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I'm hoping we're edge it just being at home.
All right. Well, I'm in the middle, and I'm going to take the middle. I'm going for a score draw, and I'm going to go for 2-2. I think it'll be a high tempo, passionate, high energy score draw. I
think it'll be similar to the tempo will be similar to the home game we had a couple of seasons ago in January. Hopefully the same result would be fantastic from my side. But I personally thought it was a really good game for a neutral. It was again a high tempo, high energy game. Obviously the red card sort of changed a little bit on your part, but I thought Coventry played really well even prior to that as well. But I thought it was a really good, solid game of football that was, and that's what I'm hoping for on Saturday.
Well, before we end, let's all rewind to the fact the last time we played this fixture was the beginning of the 23-24 season. It was the first game of the season, and we won that 2-1.
That was the home game, but the away game we lost, didn't we?
Yes, we lost the away one.
Yeah, so we lost at Coventry that season, from memory.
We beat Coventry at Coventry.
Oh, did we beat them?
No,
we didn't. They beat us.
We won 3-1, and
you won 3-1. Yeah, and we were down to 10 men for a big chunk of the game.
At Coventry.
No. We beat them at first game of the season at home, Jono. Then we lost them away, mate.
This Harm, I think, is one of his last games, and had you right hit the bar on his debut, and then the home game was you got that dodgy penalty where Bobby Thomas won the ball against GB Hall, but I don't know how he got the penalty. That red card completely changed the tempo before half time, and happy days thereafter.
Well, we'll end the show there. Don't forget to follow Sky Blue Jay on his socials. That's the same tag he's got everywhere, so go and give him a follow.
One of the nice ones. One of the nice ones.
Yeah, it's one of the nice Coventry fans. So really appreciate you spending your time and chatting with us, Jay. Really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, Jay. Thanks ever so much for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
After this weekend, all the best.
And to you, mate. Hopefully you'll get the promotion. Hopefully you'll see the season out and get yourselves up and have a taste of the Premier League.
You need to go up. You've been out there too long. We need a fresh team in the Premier League.
It's been a while. Oh, thank you guys.
So later,
Take care, mate. Look after yourself.
It's been weird. It's been nice having a guest. We've not had a guest for a long time.
It's not, and it's nice. It's nice to get some different opinions about games. It's good.
Yes. But cheers, Simon, for coming. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials down below. We've got Simon's show. We've got Jamie's show on Sunday with the Half and Half show, and then on Monday we've got Phil's show talking about if we beat or lost to Coventry. But next week we have a fancy new intro which you might find you might quite like. Also, thank you all so much for watching, and see you all next time.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow us on all socials.